The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's coaching webinar with your host, Rick Brash.
Well, thanks, Andrea. Welcome, coaching members. Good to have you on board today. Great to sit in and share the airwaves with you as we do today's teaching webinar. I'm thrilled to be here. Craig sent me a note the other day and asked me if I'd mind pinch hitting because he knows I really have enjoyed working with this online Facebook and classified medium to generate leads. In fact, I've been working with this Facebook ad generation system now since the beginning. I probably told many of you the story. We were sitting at the super conference in Anaheim about, I'm going to guess, four and a half years ago. And as some of you may or may not know, when we have a super conference, Craig's sister Kim, who sets everything up on our behalf, who works tirelessly for weeks and weeks and weeks to make a super conference happen, she always gets us a room where we can go as a coaching team and basically flop in a chair, order our lunch, leave our briefcase, etc., etc. So we're all in there having lunch, and this whole subject of lead generation came up because we talked about it in the super conference, and this whole thing about someone had heard that Facebook was going to be a good place to generate leads, and I had been sort of playing around with it just a little bit, and Craig said, "Oh, no, Facebook," he said, "that's for high school kids. You know, passing along messages. OMG, Becky has a new boyfriend, blah, blah, blah." And someone looked at Craig and said, "No, I don't think so, dude. I think what you're going to find is that Facebook is going to be used by the masses of people, and there's going to be a setup in there somehow that allows us to tap into that socialized network, draw out the people that we might be interested in working with, and creating another lead gen media / strategy." Well, the person that said that was me. Opened my big mouth, and Craig looked at me and said, "Oh, fantastic, Brash. You're in charge of finding out how it all works." So that was about 4 years ago, and I left the super conference. Of course, now I've got this mission to figure out how it all works, and I've sort of never looked back. And I've been playing around with it and generating leads with it, and tweaking and playing and trying to understand all of the nuances and all of the upgrades and all the changes they keep throwing at us in the Facebook Ad Manager, and it's getting more complicated as the day goes by. So today I'm going to try and break this down and simplify it for everybody so you can see a real benefit in learning how to do this on your own. And I'm going to stress that at the beginning of our webinar today, that I believe all of us who are serious quantum leapers really need to learn how to do our own marketing. So somebody recently said that I was more old school quantum leap than I'd like to admit, and I probably am. When I started this program, we generated more leads than we can handle through print media, and as print media has diminished in its capacity, we've all gone more digital. And I still like print media. I still like the old school stuff. So here I am leaping in and learning how this social network stuff works, which at the beginning was completely out of my wheelhouse. Now I'm super comfortable with it. And I think the reason I am is because I do it. I sit down once or twice a week. I have a look at the ads I'm testing. I have a look at the results. I look at my traffic. I look at my leads. I look at my costs, and I have a clear understanding as to how this thing works. And I guess, again, at the outset, I'm going to encourage everybody to learn how this works before you delegate it to someone else. And that's the easy thing. The easy thing is to get convinced that this is a good direction to go, and then we go and find someone to do it for us. That's the easy way. And I got nothing against that. As long as you can look at what they're doing on your behalf and recommend those changes that need to be made to improve or to get your marketing into that autopilot status. So that's a big encouragement. Put that in your notes. Learn how to market myself so I can always be in control of my lead generation. That was something Craig beat into us early in the beginning. Learn how to be a marketer, and you'll never need for leads again in your real estate career. So today we're going to talk about Facebook, how to use it, some ads that our members have sent in. We'll have a look at some of that. We're also going to talk real briefly at the end about how to still use Craigslist, how to still use Kijiji in Canada and online classifieds, and how you can still use those mediums to successfully generate a good quality lead and in fact get those prospects from those free online sites onto the telephone very quickly, have that meaningful conversation with the universal callback script, and get in front of those people if they are worthy of you. So I think we'll have a good webinar today. I hope you learned something. At the outset, for those of you who don't know me, I've been with Craig now since 2000. He invited me onto the coaching team in 2004. I've had the privilege of representing Craig and Catherine all over the continent in various things over the years. I work as a coach. I work as the director of the Inner Circle group. So I have some experience in coaching our members. I thoroughly enjoy working with our members. That is my #1 vocation now, is working with our members, and I thoroughly enjoy this. So that will likely come through in my tone today. And if I get rolling too fast, Andrea, just reel me in a little bit with a question or two. And by the way, we're live. If anybody wants to ask questions, Andrea is going to man the question box. You can either type your question in, as you know, or you can hit the little hand in the control panel there, and you can ask a live question. And the one thing I'm going to say at the outset is I am not a technical expert. I'm not really a techno expert with respect to all the inner workings of Facebook. I do know how to run an ad. I do know how to check my ads. I do know how to look at the traffic. I've learned all those things, and I think I'm fairly good at creating an ad that seems to fit in with a relevant market condition and generating a lead from that condition. So we'll go through this today, and we'll answer all your questions to the best of my ability. My email is rick@craigproctor.com. Certainly don't hesitate to send me an email. Be sure to CC that to your coach as well, and we'll get you an answer as quickly as we can. So the big question that we get constantly these days is, should we use Facebook in our lead generation strategy? Remember now, we're learning to generate leads through marketing, the way a real business generates new opportunities. So is Facebook really a bona fide strategy to use today? And the answer is yes. Simply, it's yes. Facebook today, as it says on the slide there, is used by over 1 billion people, and practically everyone you know has a Facebook page. Practically everyone you know uses the Facebook medium every single day. So having your lead generation strategy online is a crucial decision that you have to make. If you're not online today with your lead generation, you're likely missing out on a huge opportunity in your local marketplace. And let's face it, within the group here, there's no shortage of online strategies that we can take advantage of. So Facebook has really become a go-to media choice locally. I found some statistics here. I put this together yesterday. Found some interesting statistics that in terms of digital display ad revenue, Facebook has now surpassed Google. Now that's absolutely amazing. All of us know that Google is still the #1 search engine in the world, but in terms of generating money for display ads, display ad revenue as it's reported, look at the statistics. Facebook, for 2 years in a row, 2014 and now 2015, reporting that they are generating substantially more money through their ad manager than Google is. And if you look at the demographics of who is looking at Facebook, who's using the media channel, Facebook is the #1 choice for media updates in the key demographics that we generate leads from. So the Gen X and Yers, the baby boomers, and the millennials, you'll see, look, at Facebook is their #1 choice for online whatever. Looking for stuff, looking for information, social stuff. Facebook dominates their use overall. So we come back to the same question: should I be using Facebook in my lead generation strategy? Well, clearly, the second graph there on the right tells us that yes, the audience that we want to work with is clearly there if we can get the right message in front of them. So the answer is yes. Facebook advertising, without question, makes a whole lot of sense. So let's talk about that today. We want to have a look at getting this media channel working in your marketplace and following the things that we know work so it becomes a successful tool for you on a regular basis. So, brief review, what has Craig taught you thus far about marketing? Well, he's helped you understand that to create leads regularly, consistently, predictably, there's three things that absolutely need to come together, regardless of the media channel, in order for you to have an acceptable flow of leads when you put the ad together. The first thing, of course, is the media. What media have you chosen to introduce your marketing message to the public with? So the box there gives you some choices. There's print, there's Google, there's Facebook, LinkedIn, Bing ads. Maybe you're working with direct mail. Those are all media choices. Okay? They themselves don't generate the lead. They deliver the lead. They introduce the lead to the prospects or the audience that you've chosen to talk to in your local marketplace. Okay, so the media is the first consideration. The second consideration is what's the words that we're going to use to attract the prospects when they go to that media and see the marketing campaign that we're running. So there's two, and the third then is who are we talking to? So this is an illustration of Craig's well understood 3M formula and how it works and why it works the way it does, and why it generates leads predictably. We choose the right audience. We choose the most accepted audience in our marketplace who we believe will accept our marketing message by going to that media channel and bumping into it when they are there. So if we can combine these three factors correctly, we should never want for leads again. And Craig said it a million times, generating leads is not that difficult when you get the right message, when you use a regular used media channel locally, and you talk to the right audience. In fact, the lead generation component of the entire Quantum Leap system is actually pretty easy, fairly simple, once you get this right. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. I'm living proof. When I started this program back in 2000, it took some practice. It took some learning. I had to be a student of what Craig taught me. I was a willing student. I drove him crazy with my questions and my emails, but he taught me to market for leads so that at any time I can go back into the marketing channels, turn up the volume for my business, and have the leads coming in as plentifully as I want. So if you can get this right, you won't have any trouble generating leads using the Facebook medium. Now remember, Facebook is just a medium. Okay? Facebook is like a digital magazine that's constantly changing, that they're constantly adding pages to. So here's your typical Facebook timeline page. Okay, I just took a screenshot of my page, and there's kind of what you see on a daily basis. You see stuff that you're interested in, you know, stuff that you can click, stuff that you can go get more interested, more information on. We see advertising now more than ever on Facebook, and then we just see the stuff that makes us laugh. I heard a good joke yesterday about Facebook, that Facebook is very similar to ancient Egypt. Now, Andrea, I don't want you emailing me later and saying that my jokes are really corny. I'm just passing this on. I heard yesterday that Facebook is very similar to ancient Egypt in that on Facebook we write on walls and we seem to have an affinity for cats. Now, I know that everybody's laughing at my jokes right now, Andrea. I don't hear you laughing, Andrea, but you really should be, because that was a good one. And she's even ignoring me. Okay, look, I'm having some fun. Today we want to look at... Yeah, thanks. Thanks for nothing. Okay, here's what we're going to look at today, ads. We're going to take Facebook today and show you how to turn it into a great medium for generating leads. That's what this is all about. So let's get on with it. So we call this, Craig and I call this Facebook Ads 101. And there is a how-to built in here, and later on when you get access to this webinar, you can go through it and you can pause and you can compare it with your screen If you have troubles, just send me an email. But there's a bit of a how-to here. What I really want to do is get your head around the fact that this is a great tool that you should be using in your business. So here's a collection of ads, very much like what you see every day. So I've got some ads in here from some of our members that have been taking our advice and working with the Facebook medium. I've got some of my ads in here. But the bottom line is this: when you do it correctly, when you create the ad that makes total relevant sense for that sector of the market that you want to talk to, for that audience, Facebook has the ability to get in front of that audience and bring to you great localized qualified traffic. Now, let's be clear. That's the job of your ad on Facebook. And you've heard James McDonald talk at length about this. Facebook itself probably isn't going to generate the lead. But Facebook is going to host your ad, which in turn will draw people to your ad. Your ad's job now is to create the traffic to your landing pages. Okay, let's be clear on that. The job of the landing page, and for those of you that use the Success Website solution, there's some examples of landing pages that can easily work in conjunction with your Facebook marketing. The job of the landing page is to convert that traffic into leads and to, in essence, sift and sort through and allow the best qualified prospects to become leads. That's the purpose of this, and that's the way we put it all together. So let's have a look at some of these ads that our members have been working with over the last little while. So this is what we call an ad using the map and pin image. Now myself personally, I haven't had great success with map and pin. That doesn't mean it doesn't work, guys, but I personally haven't had as great a success with those as I have had with actually putting a picture of a house in my ad. But here's an ad that our member in Norwalk sent in, was looking for some suggestions. Ad is visible on Saturday and Sunday. I've received 20 leads, but thousands have seen and many liked. Okay, so look, that's the scenario with online advertising. Let's remember that. First of all, if you have not defined your audience clearly, and your audience is thousands and thousands of people, then guess what Facebook is going to do? They're going to drop your ad in front of thousands and thousands of people. So write this in your notes, guys. One of the things I want you to pay very clear attention to is your choice of audience. The audience that you give your ad to, you have to make some careful choices about your audience. And there is a direct correlation between the size of your audience and the budget you're going to be working with on Facebook. Here's another one. This is a Facebook ad that ran over the past Friday through Sunday. So this member ran it over the weekend. And by the way, I've had my best success with Facebook ads between Thursday and Sunday. It provided 14 leads, of which 11 were complete with phone numbers. The lead capture rate is about 5% of the amount of Facebook clicks. Any advice to improve the lead capture rate? Thanks. Well, those are great numbers. A 5% lead capture rate, or a 5% lead generation rate, is actually pretty good. 11 good numbers out of 14, that's a really great starting point. What we can do is work on the message, we can work on the audience, we can even work a little bit on the budget and see if we can improve it. There's lots of variables that come to the table with Facebook marketing. Here's another one on the left. Beautiful Santa Clara homes. The Santa Clara market is hot. Homes are selling. Prices are up. What a great time to get in and maximize your profit. So again, the eye is drawn to something. In this case, the eye of the reader is drawn to the map and pin illustration that's in the ad. Not my personal favorite, but look, let's have a look at the results. The demographic is age is 25 to 65. It's in one zip code. The size of that audience, about 20,000. Now that's the audience size that I have my most success with, between about 16 and 22,000. $75 lifetime budget for a 3 or 4 hour period. It ran Sunday 6 to 10, Tuesday 7 to 10. Clicks about 70 on Sunday, 50 on Tuesday, 3 likes Sunday, 4 likes Tuesday. Clicks registered on Success website, 21 on Sunday, 11 on Tuesday. So those are better than the 5% rate. Those are pretty good. The one thing we don't have here is how many leads the Success website generated. But here's what we know. The ad is working. The ad is doing its job. Okay? Now, I would take that ad and I would run the same ad, and I would insert a house picture and a different domain name, and I would cross-test them. And I would just see if the house picture generates more traffic and ultimately more leads. And then on the right there, the affordable eastvalleyhomes.com ad. Why rent if you can own? Free list of must-sell East Valley homes under $1,300 a month. So we all recognize that's our affordability campaign from the ad generator. The click-through rate, 2.7%, so just a little bit on the low side. But look, 7 leads, 2 successful calls, 2 appointments scheduled. All right, so let's just take this to the next level. 2 appointments scheduled. Let's say one of them buys in the next 30 days and generates a $7,000 or a $10,000 commission. Okay, the ad probably cost $75. The net from 2 appointments scheduled from that run on the ad is a $7,000 to a $10,000 commission. I'd be willing to do that all day long. Okay, so let's not look at only the back end math. Let's look at the front end math as well that we create through the sale to that prospect. And then here's this one. Now this particular ad didn't feature a picture, it featured a video. So this member used one of those photography drones. He flew it up over the house, and he offered an online home evaluation by simply going to friscohomevalue.com. And there is the results. The ad ran for 3 days, $10 a day, a little bit on the low side. 43 website hits, 3 seller leads, contacted 2 prospects looking to sell by summer or fall. So again, the ad had a good success rate. So this is what our members are doing to succeed using this Facebook medium. The one on the left there with that beautiful sunset behind the house, this is our good friend Aaron Kinn down in Fort Worth, Texas. And this is in a particular municipality down there called Keller. And this was an ad that Aaron sent me a couple of years ago that he's had great success with, and I've replicated this ad exactly the way Aaron did it in my marketplace, and it's worked just as well for me as it has worked for Aaron Kinn. So again, I'm willing to copy a proven method that simply generates leads over and over and over again. And then look, there's an ad as shown on the phone from our members up in Montreal. Click on the link below to get started. The MontrealRealEstate.com redirect, and it takes them to a home search page, the VIP home search page in the less branded site. And I don't have any statistics on what these 2 ads generated. I know that Aaron's ad on the left generates lead after lead after lead after lead because him and I talk about it with each other, and I know that my version of Aaron's ad works just as well for me. So there's some examples. There's some examples of our members making a lot of money who've simply taken to heart the idea that this Facebook lead generation media choice is actually a pretty good one. So let's go through this, and let me show you how to get this working in your business so you can also generate leads on your own. If you can learn to do this all by yourself, you don't need to pay somebody else to do it for you. And I know some people are somewhat intimidated by the computer. I'm going to say this, I'm not a computer geek in any way, shape, or form. I'm not very good at coding and all that kind of jazz. But this Facebook stuff, they make it really easy once you get into it and play around. The first time you get in here, guys, it's going to confuse the hell out of you. I'm going to tell you right now. And it's more complicated now than it was a year ago, and it's probably going to keep getting complicated. But as they add more and more and more, they have no choice but to complicate it. If you can grow with them, you'll understand the upgrades and the changes, and it will make sense. So the first thing is we start off with a page. Now, your page on Facebook is not your personal page. Now, I get a lot of emails about this. Rick, should I be using my personal page for Facebook, or should I create another page? Okay, my advice is create a real estate related page for your marketplace. And write this in your notes. Today you can look at a couple of mine. I have a page on Facebook called Calgary Real Estate Questions. Just the way it sounds, excuse me. Calgary is C-A-L-G-A-R-Y, Calgary Real Estate Questions. It's not a web address. It's the name of my Facebook page. I have another one, Chestermere Real Estate Sales, C-H-E-S-T-E-R-M-E-R-E. Now, don't look at them now. I want you to stay with me as we go through this, but put them in your notes and have a look at them later. Those are area-specific pages that I own and control where my lead generation marketing resides. Okay, and I go to Facebook and I have them take my ads and place them in front of people that I've chosen. So the first thing I want you to do is build a page just like that. Then I want you to create an understanding of who the audience is. Okay, that's the bottom illustration in that 3M slide I showed you earlier. Who is your market? Who is your target market, as Craig says? And finally, how are you going to engage them to become convertible traffic to your landing page? Okay, so it's a 3-step process that's really easy to do once you get your head around this. So first, build your page. It's going to be a less branded place on Facebook where your ad copy and the call to action built in sit. They'll operate exactly the way they've been designed, where you're drawing prospects in, getting them to react, click through to your landing page. So that's exactly how I want this to happen. It's no different, really, than a Craigslist ad. It's no different than a Google ad. It's no different at all. Our job is to get the ad in front of the eyeballs of that prospect that we want to work with. So this is the 3M formula that you're going to build with your new page. So here's how you start. Now, you will start this from your personal page on Facebook. Okay, so there's mine. That's me at the top there, in case you're all wondering who I am and what I look like. That's me. Now, you'll notice that on the left-hand side of my page, as a link, I have a create page link that you want to click. Okay, you have it too. It's there. And by the way, there's no charge for a page, and you can have as many pages as you want. I think I have maybe a dozen that I play around with and test ads on. Okay, so when you hit create page, it takes you to this, create a page. You're going to choose local business or place. You're going to fill out the information, and then you're going to click get started. Okay, so Facebook asks you for the information it needs, and then the page is created. Now, for those of you that know how to do this, stick with me. There's a good amount of members still struggling to make this work and understand this. So I'm going to go through this as slowly and deliberately as I can. Now, this is what you're going to end up with as the process begins. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to add some pictures, you're going to add some content, and what happens when all that is said and done is your blank page is built. Okay, so there's one of my pages. Chestermere Real Estate Sales. And as you can see, it's a lake community. It's a bedroom community. I have an agent on my team who lives out there. She's been with me for a dozen years, and she handles all of our interests out in the Chestermere area. Now, moving forward on that page, I want you to begin creating some things. I want you to start by sharing relevant information about the real estate market on your page. Now, how do you do that? I get this question all the time from members. Rick, where do you get your information that's on your pages? I'm going to tell you. How many of you read the local newspaper online? Okay, I do. We have 2 papers in my marketplace. We have a Sun and we have a Herald. And both of those pages have an online version. They both have a real estate section online. Now, quite often the articles are the same, but every now and then, once, maybe twice a week, I'll go into the newspaper, I'll read something that grabs my attention, I'll go into the real estate section, and I'll post information that's relevant to the real estate market on my pages. Okay? They're not ads. They're not so much for lead generation. They're just localized information that's interesting to prospects. And the reason I do that is because I understand consumer behavior. I know when I go to a Facebook page for the first time, if I'm compelled to go to a page for the first time, before I do anything they've asked me to do, I scroll up and down that page, number one, to see if it's been around for a while, and number two, to see if there actually is relevant information about the subject at hand. And I've learned that that's what consumers do before they commit to clicking on anything. So load up your page on a regular, consistent basis with information. Set something in your schedule that says Monday morning and Thursday morning, you'll have a quick look online for information about your area, and you'll post it on the different pages that you have. From the article, you'll have an opportunity to share the article from the paper, and just share it on the Facebook page that you now own and manage. So there's a couple of articles right there about the health and condition of our local marketplace. And in my pages, you'll see that's peppered all the way through, along with my ads and along with my personal posts, okay? And again, that makes the page feel local and something that a prospect should be using. So just get in the habit of doing that, and next thing you know, your page is full of information along with the ads and the posts that you're going to run on there. Now here's another page that I run. I run this page, as some of you know, I spend about a half of my life in Arizona. I live in a community called Goodyear, and I now run a Goodyear page, which I've been generating some leads from for my buddies down in Arizona. So here's an example of my Goodyear lead generation page that we created, and there on the page is a post. Now, the post is not something I've shared from somewhere else. The post is something that I've created. Okay? So I wrote that post, I installed that picture myself, and then I turned it into an ad. Now, there's a big difference between a shared newspaper article and something I've put on Facebook, and then I've turned that into a lead generation ad, mechanical ad piece. Okay, so there it is. Now, how do we do that? That's what I'm going to show you today. Sharing articles from the newspaper is easy. Writing ads and placing ad posts is a little bit more work. But suffice it to say, if you do this right, it works really well because it's interesting and compelling to people in that Goodyear, Arizona market that actually need a home evaluation to get the project of selling started. Okay? Now you can see at the bottom there of that particular ad that I ran it so that 17,080 people were reached with what I was willing to pay as a budget. And in a minute we'll talk about budget, but my budget on that was probably about $75 for 3 days over the weekend. Okay, but 17,000 people were reached, and I think I gave away 3 or 4, maybe 5 referrals for people who are thinking about selling. But what I want you to get your head around is the actual generation of the post. You do that. Just like you're going to go on your Facebook page and write something for all your friends to see, you create this post right here. Okay? Now, as I said earlier, I've had better success generating traffic from my ad when I use a house picture. That's just me, and you want to experiment with this. You want to experiment with different images. There's stock images, you know, those stock images that are beautiful houses with a for sale sign in front. There's the map and pin images, and then there's really good looking property images, and those have worked the best for me moving forward. So there's what that post looks like. Now I also want you to pay attention to the format of the caption. The caption is the words in the ad above the picture. You'll notice I led the way with a domain name. GoodyearSoldHomePrices.com is selling a home, a project you're considering for 2016. Free over-the-net home evaluation. Find out the true value of your home, get started by going to GoodyearSoldHomePrices.com. Okay, I led the way with the call to action. That has been the best consistent traffic generator moving forward, and both Aaron Kin and I have experimented with that, and I come back to this because it works the best, and I recommend it. Whenever you send me an email about constructing a Facebook ad, I always recommend we lead with that domain name. Now, as you get into this and you start to create your ads and you start to create your audience, I want you to pay very close attention to your audience. Now, it's a little bit on the technical side, but the ad manager allows you to go in and create any number of audiences and name them and save them. Okay, now you'll start to do that. You might have an audience that's a particular zip code. You might have an audience that is a particular subdivision or a particular bedroom community. You might have an audience that's made up only of married people. Okay, maybe you're running the divorce campaign, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to run that to people who've said on Facebook that they are single. In the ad manager, you can generate an audience using any number of criteria, and you can then save the audience. So I want you to pay very close attention to the audience when you run your ads. So let me give you an example. Now, for our American friends who are on the call today, you've been able to use a zip code in your audience choice from day one with the Facebook Ad Manager. In Canada, those of us who do this in Canada, we've never had that privilege. We still don't. We can't insert a postal code in Facebook and get the results from it that we'd like. So what they give us in Canada is the ability to drop a pin and then choose a radius around the pin as to where we want our ad to be shown. Now you can do this in the US as well. So here's what I've done. I've chosen a specific demographic in Calgary, a specific geo area. I've dropped a pin and I've told Facebook that within a 5-mile radius of that pin, you have permission to show my ad to people who meet the rest of the criteria. So from a geographic point of view, I've started to identify who my audience is. And if you look to the right there, so far that pin with a 5-mile radius is going to introduce my ad to 310,000 people. Now my city's big, about 1.2 million. A 310,000 person audience, in my opinion, is really big, and I'm going to have a substantial budget for my ad to reach all 310,000 people. So we'll talk a little bit about bidding as well. So when you go and you boost your post, which is something you're allowed to do from your page, you've got some choices. Number one is audience. All right. Now look, right below my little circle, notice how it says Chestermere. Okay, so Chestermere is the audience that I created in the Ad Manager. And I have a choice of audiences that I've created that I can choose from with this particular ad. I can edit my audience if I want to, but I've learned recently that doing it here at the boosted post stage is not the best place to do it. This is a quick overview of people to talk to. This is like a key retail thing for Facebook where they simply just make money off us. We don't have all of the choices here that we'd like to have. That's why now I recommend you go into the Ad Manager, set up your account, and begin the process of creating different audiences and saving them. Okay? You choose a budget, and then you choose how long your ad is going to run. Now, for those of you who still haven't done this, I know you're starting to glaze over a little bit. Stick with me, and then later today, before you forget all this, go into your account, sit at your computer for half an hour with a cup of coffee, and just play around with creating an ad. Okay? Because what happens is you're going to get good at this. You're simply going to get really good at this. There's lots of members in our group who could come on this webinar with me today and instruct you on how to get good at generating leads on Facebook. There's a couple of key things you want to remember. Make sure your ad is relevant. Track your results. And you saw from the examples I shared with you earlier that if you track your results, you know how much it costs to generate a lead using Facebook. And by the way, for any source of leads, for any source of traffic that brings people to our hotline or to our landing page, we should know what our cost per lead is. That's a key number as you're learning to run a business. Now, you can do it the old-fashioned way. So here's an ad. What I've been sharing with you so far is a post. This is an ad, the way it's created from the ad manager. A post is something you do on the page. An ad is something you do through the ad manager, which ends up on your page. They both end up on the same place, but they both work differently. And the best thing you can do is dive in and play around with this a little bit so it makes sense. So there's the ad. It has a caption, it has a good image, it has further details, and then a button which we call a secondary call to action. And the way this works, if the prospect comes into this ad from anywhere and clicks on it, boom, he's taken to your landing page. Anywhere on the page he clicks, he's taken to your landing page. So here's how you do this. From the ad manager, when you hit create an ad, you go through a few steps. Step one is, what do you want the ad to do? What do you want the ad to do? In this case, I've chosen the first choice. I want it to send people to my landing page. So that's what I choose. Now, I choose the name of the landing page and I stick it in the box when it asks me. So in this case, the example we're going to use today is for a home evaluation ad that I would create, and I want to send all the traffic to that landing page URL, ChestermereRealEstateSales.com. Put that in your notes. You'll have a look at that later. I know you will. That's just a landing page in my less branded site that offers people in Chestermere a home evaluation. Okay, so I go through this process. Now, one thing here, for those of you that are doing this and not using a success website, I'm not saying that's wrong, but you might stall here. You'll put your domain name in that points to some site, some other site that you're working with. Now what happens is Facebook goes to that domain name and they check your privacy. Everybody on their landing page has to have an acceptable privacy disclosure on their landing page for this to work. If it's not acceptable, you won't get past this stage. And believe me, I worked with Success Website long and hard to get our privacy correct for the Facebook marketing. 3 years ago, I couldn't make this work going to my less branded site. And finally, Christy Fillion and I worked out excuse me, what the privacy needed to be so that we could work with Facebook. So once you've got that in, once they've checked your page and they allow you to move forward, now what you get to do is choose an audience. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Now, as I mentioned, Chestermere is a lake community on the east side of Calgary where I live. It's a bedroom community. And I could actually choose Chestermere as a city choice right up here in the top where we choose the geographical location. I can do that and be happy with that choice. If I do, you'll notice on the right, my potential reach is 36,000 people. Okay, so there's a fairly big audience for my personal taste. Or, as I mentioned earlier, I can drop a pin and I can tell Facebook what radius to work with around the pin. So for the sake of our webinar, I did that today, and you'll notice that the demographic size was about the same. I can choose age range, and gender. I can do all that stuff right there. And now I can work my way through all the different choices, all the different interest groups, all the stuff that people have identified themselves with when they sign up with Facebook. And by the way, don't kid yourself. Facebook knows what you look at. They know what you watch in terms of videos. They know what ads you click on. So that's how they've been able to create this group of choices. And there's hundreds and hundreds of them here. And yes, you want to go through them so that you can really target market a group of people that you want to talk with. Now, a lot of you don't do any of this, but it all depends as well on the campaign. As I said earlier, let's say you're running the divorce report. I have great success with lead generation through the divorce report in the spring, but I don't flash that report to anybody who is on Facebook who's single. It just doesn't make sense. I've chosen married people to receive or see that ad on Facebook. And I can move through all the choices. I can tell Facebook how much I want to spend. I can tell them how long I want my ad to run. I can choose pay-per-click or impression as a charging vehicle for me. So the difference is this. Pay-per-click means that every time a prospect clicks on your ad, you're willing to pay a set agreed CPC, cost per click. Or you can go by impression. Now, I've had better success and a little bit lower cost per lead using the impression format. That means that every time Facebook flashes your ad into the chosen audience, person by person by person, every time it happens 1,000 times, you're willing to pay X amount of dollars. In this case, if you look right here in the middle, for every 1,000 impressions, I'm prepared to pay Facebook $2.20. Okay, so that's what that is there. Now they've got a suggested bid rate of $1.42, so anywhere from 24 cents to $2.61. So I've had better success being in the top 25 percentile of anything that Facebook ever recommends. And they probably know that about me now, and they probably enhance this when they see me making an ad. Their algorithms probably know all that, but hey, it works, and I don't complain. At the bottom here, I get to tell Facebook when I want my ad to run. So it doesn't run blindly from, 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, at 3 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock. I can tell Facebook when I want my ad to run. So it's very scientific. It allows me to really pinpoint an audience and really be methodical with my decisions as to when my ad is going to run. So you have all these choices. And this is when you hear Craig and I talk about tracking, this is what you want to look at. You want to make special note of all these decisions you've made about this particular campaign and start to track the results. Because you'll find that making some small changes to this, or just a 1 or 2 word change to your ad, has a profound effect on the results that your ad creates moving forward. And once a week, and anybody who's on the call today that's working with me, you've heard me say this before, once a week you need to sit down with your marketing and go through all the data that it's created. And you can look at it in your control panel if you like. You can go into your hotline reporting system and look at all your calls, or you can do it like I used to do it. I ran a spreadsheet, and we kept spreadsheets on our desks, so we always knew how well our marketing was working for us. And I recommend that. You can look at it in an instant, and you can know exactly how your marketing is working. And then you can make decisions about whether or not a campaign should continue, or whether or not we should up the budget on this campaign. How do you think Craig decided that sending 20,000 postcards a month was a good number for him? Because he tracked the data as he started to mail postcards. He tracked his traffic and he tracked his conversions. And he saw that he could easily afford to send 20,000 instead of 5,000, and he knew exactly what his cost per lead would be running 20,000 cards. He tracked all this data. And if there's one thing you can take away from today's session, it's track, track, track. You never stop tracking. You always want to be in a position to reduce your costs and improve your output. And the way you do that is by tracking. Now you want to add images and videos. Again, you have some choices. You can run an ad with a single image. You can run it with a multiple image. You can now run an ad with videos, as I showed you earlier, that member who runs his ad with the drone video of that property. And this is where we understand how visual the Facebook medium really is, because the image in your ad is usually what grabs the eye of the person who is reading through it. So there's what your ad looks like when you get to the end. Okay, you get to this screen and you actually create your ad. So you can see, I did this yesterday, you can see the verbiage that I put in my ad, you can see the headline, you can see all the jazz here that we've come up with. And then at the end, I hit this green button at the bottom called Place Order. And that's where my ad is now submitted to Facebook, and they approve it based on their advertising guidelines. And sometimes they send them back. So if you go into your caption, for example, and you work with a lot of capital letters in your caption, or you have more than 2 words capitalized, they won't approve your ad. Little things like that. So just be patient. And in about 45 minutes or so, you'll get a push notification in your Facebook page along with an email that simply said your ad has been approved. And guess what? Your ad is now live. You're now generating leads, and you've now joined the ranks of marketers using the Facebook media channel as a viable place to generate leads. And that's really how this sucker works. And I just want to make sure we're all clear how it works. So let me just back this up again. So there's your ad. There's your ad that you have running as per the choices you've made. Your ad is now introduced to that audience that you've chosen. And for those who are interested to find out what their house is worth, they mouse over, they click on your ad, and boom, they are sent to your landing page where they willingly give up, or trade, I should say, information and then become a lead. Now we want to get to the point where we do this over and over and over again. And that's a really great way that all of us here can begin to use this Facebook media channel. Now, I know for a fact that I've confused a whole bunch of you today. I know that. I get it, okay? Reach out. If you have questions about how all this works, don't hesitate to send me an email or send your coach an email. We'll make sure that this is made available to everybody as soon as Andrea can get it all formatted and uploaded to the coaching website. But don't sit there and stew if something didn't make sense today. I want everyone to take this point away from our discussion. Facebook works. It's really powerful. It's in front of a lot of people, including the people you'll be selling a house for next week. They have a Facebook page. So Facebook is a great way to introduce direct response marketing to that target audience that you want to work with in the next few days. You just have to go through a bit of a learning curve and gain a layer of comfort with this so you can easily and predictably generate traffic and ultimately leads from Facebook. Now I want to talk a little bit too about online classifieds, but before I do, we should take a break here. I bet you we've got some questions. We probably got some questions, Andrea. Is there anything that I could deal with immediately here?
We do have a lot of questions ranging from a lot of what you've been speaking about already. So we'll just start from the top. You may have to just refresh some members. We may have already addressed this. You'll have to go back. Said, sure. Rick, what are your thoughts about uploading custom lists of your current leads and making offers to them to raise their hands again?
So this is a relatively new thing that we can do with Facebook. I think it's a good idea. Just remember that list is probably not as big as your audience when you choose a new audience. So I think it's a good idea. If you've got a very pointed message that you want to make to that specific list of prospects you've generated before, then yeah, I would do it. Without question, I would do it. It's like everything else now when it comes to communicating with prospects, we want to always be communicating a message to them. And in every message we communicate, what do we want to do? We want to make an offer. So make sure that that message you send again has a very palpable, easily definable call to action that they can follow. What's next, Andrea? Okay,
our next question. So you do recommend or you do not recommend using a picture of an average home or a luxury home?
Well, again, I guess we have to look at the audience that we're talking to. You know, if I had chosen to work with somebody in a real upper price range, I would definitely introduce my ad using an image that fits with that price range, that fits with that subdivision, that fits with the audience who's probably going to be either buying or selling with me. So I think there has to be a right market to message match. I really do. I don't know that you want to go down too far. I think your picture needs to be a very good quality. I think it needs to be sharp and crisp and clean. I think it needs to be a picture that grabs the eye of the reader because it's a very visual medium. So let's make sure you've got high quality photos that you're using. But you know what it comes down to? I think it's Mark Good who has asked that question. Mark, what it comes down to is testing. Run the same ad, and every couple of weeks, if your ad's working, just change out the image and see if there's a change, either good or better, either for good or for worse, in the results that your ad is generating. But you definitely want to track and test and use the image that does the best for you. So is there an answer? Probably not. My answer is test and see what works best.
Okay, our next question. Do the ads get posted on your Facebook page? And do you need to boost the ad? We have lots of questions about boosting.
Okay, so I'll say this again. Boosting is the quick way to get your ad in front of an audience. Okay, boosting is a retail component that Facebook uses to make money. It's a real quick fix to get your ad out there in front of an audience. My recommendation is before you boost your ads, go through the ad manager and create a collection of well-chosen audiences. Because that way, instead of just boosting with a couple of quick criteria, you can boost your ad and use an audience that you've already created. That is a much more effective way to get your ad in front of the people that you want to talk to. So just think of boosting with the basic criteria as a quick way for Facebook to make money. Going in the back door through the ad manager and doing it correctly means you go in and have a really good hard look at your audience, make some solid criterion choices, and then you talk to those people over and over again. So yes, you can boost, but before you boost, go in and create a better audience than what the boosting offers you. Hope that makes sense.
Okay, we have another member who's asking if you could share a sample of your spreadsheet for tracking our marketing.
I don't have one that I can share with you right now. That would be on my server, but we can do that. Maybe what we can do is next time Craig has me on the ad clinic on Fridays, I'll bring one of those with me, Andrea, and we can share with you there. But if you go into the file library and simply pull up what Craig used to do to track his ads, mine looks identical to his. We just copied what Craig taught us to do back in the day. Craig used to give us every year a copy of his ad tracking, and we just copied exactly what he did. And there are copies of it in the coaching website.
Okay.
Who's next, Andrea?
We have Karen saying success says they get better results from distressed homes versus find out what your home is worth. I'm going to test, but what is your take?
Well, it's hard to say. Again, both ads work. We know from past experience that both those campaigns worked very well for our members. End of discussion. So now you go to Facebook and you choose an audience. So if you've got an ad running that we've proven already works and you're not getting a great response or you're not creating a lot of traffic back to your landing page, we probably have an audience problem that we need to go in and adjust. Or our budget is so low that we're burning through it really quickly and our ad is not up there, or our ad is not getting seen because our budget is so low. Look, I know that there's a lot of talk out there about $5 a day budgets and those kinds of things. You know, as more and more people use these pay-per-click resources, I have to tell you guys, prices increase. And I'm not sure that a $5 a day budget is sufficient anymore. I'm just not sure that it is. I think we need to have in the back of our mind that a budget needs to be reasonable. Okay? A budget, a successful campaign using pay-per-click, it has a math component. And the math component is not just daily budget, it's cost per click. And when you work with Success Website in their Google department, they explain how this all works. If your budget's $5 a day, but your cost per click is $2.10, 2 clicks and you're done for the day. You see, there's a math component that we have to be very well aware of. So on Facebook, it's the same thing. We have to be aware that we have to be prepared to spend a reasonable budget, especially if our audience is really big. I like an audience of 20 or 25,000 people. That's what I like. That gets me the most leads. And if I want to run that ad during daylight hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd probably assign that ad a $150 lifetime budget. So 3 days, they'll burn $50 a day between, say, 10 and 10. And at the end of 3 days, I'll have spent $150. I can perceive what my traffic was, and I can see what my lead gen is. Now I've got data with an ad to build on. So why don't you go in, Karen, and have a look at the data your ads are creating and see if we can make some adjustments to the audience, to your budget, to those types of things. And I'm quite certain that either one of those two campaigns can generate you as many leads as you need. I'm quite certain of that.
Okay, Stephen is asking, can you address pixels and tracking?
Yes. So I'm not going to get into it today, Steve. It's a more complicated thing than most people are ready. But a pixel is something that your computer picks up every time you see an ad. And this is going to be the new thing that we see online. It's called retargeting. How many of you use eBay as a shopping tool? Or how many of you are on your Facebook page and something you looked at on eBay last night all of a sudden appears as an ad in your Facebook page? That's because you've picked up a tracking cookie that eBay has placed on your computer, and they know that you're interested in this, and they continue to show it to you over and over and over again. That's how pixels and tracking cookies work. And you can create the same thing so that when people look at your ad, they pick up a tracking cookie or a pixel, and we can begin that retargeting process. It's a little bit complicated. We can definitely get into it on another webinar if Craig wants to. We've done quite a bit of that over at Automated Marketing Solutions, and there's some solutions over there, but I think that's a little bit advanced for us to get into here today, Stephen. But good question, because that's the new thing that we're going to see more of here in the next little while. Let's take one more question, Andrea, then we're going to quickly move through this.
Okay, our final question at this time is from Sam. What metrics in Facebook do you use the most to do an autopsy on the ad, and how you can improve it?
I just like the one that one-liner that sits behind my ad in the ad manager. So I want to know traffic. I want to know how many people clicked on my ad. Then I can go into my success website. I can look at how many people came from that particular click, and then I can see how it's performing. That's how I've always done it. I don't go really deep because I just need to know the good basic stuff that tells me how well my ad is performing. The other thing I'm really concerned about, Sam, and as Craig often says, Rick's relatively frugal. I want to get my cost per lead down as low as I can and still have the same volume coming in. So I look at my cost per lead, and I balance all those things. I just constantly looking at my cost per lead. Traffic's important, leads generated are important, and so is my cost per lead. So I like that one-liner that exists behind my ad on Facebook, and I can go through a number of different breakdown criteria, but the basic one basically gives me the information that I need to know whether or not my ad is working to its full optimum level. And for sure, you want to go over this with your coach. You want to, if you're running an ad on Facebook, pull off the criteria that it's generated, the data, and if you're not getting the response you need, go over it with your coach. He'll recommend some changes. He or she will recommend some changes, and we can even change the campaign and probably get your traffic up. All great questions. That all tells me that you guys are really hell-bent on learning this, and that's good. Look, I just want to quickly go over the fact that some people are telling us that online classified ads are dead because we can't insert a domain name anymore in Craigslist. Now, Craigslist was the big one, but I'm going to show you today that you should be using online classifieds as a regular pillar in your business for generating leads. So all of the classifieds we have access to allow you to place ads for lead generation in the same place. So here's Craigslist. For our members in Toronto, you've seen this page a million times if you're running ads. If you're working with Kijiji, that's a Canadian website. And please don't send me an ad or an email and say, what on earth does Kijiji mean? I'll go public today and say I have no clue, as will all of our Canadian members. Who knows what a Kijiji is? But there's the site. There's where your ads should be, under real estate, under houses for sale. eBay classifieds. Lots of our members using this currently, and then a lot of our members use Backpage on the East Coast, so there's where your ads should reside. Okay, they all allow you to place your ad in the same place. Now, the first thing that a prospect sees when they log in to an online classified site looking for homes for sale is a collection of headlines. Now, this is basic stuff, guys. Craig has taught you this and taught you this. He's drummed it into your heads. The job of the headline is to sell the ad. The job of the headline in an online classified site is to get the click, because the click takes the reader into the ad. That's the job of the headline. So guess what? When it comes to working with online classifieds, we get to put our marketer hat on, because I want you guys to create a compelling headline, not like these. Now those are boring headlines, and those are right from the excuse me, the Craigslist page in my marketplace. Boring, boring, boring. Okay? An address, a location, a price, bedrooms, and square footage. Okay? Could not be more dull. Could not be less compelling than what you see right there. I want you to learn to generate a headline that grabs the reader and pulls him in. So here's some examples. So we have lots of great Craigslist and Kijiji material available to you through the coaching site. If you can't find it, send me an email, and I'll send you a list of headlines that have worked really well for us over the years. But look, just pick one in this list. These are compelling headlines. They grab the attention. They really grab the reticular activator of that person looking for a deal. Okay? You all know what the reticular activator is. That's that mental thing that's running right now, trying to find a solution to a query you've put in your brain. Looking for a new cell phone? You'll see every single cell phone ad in the area until you buy one. Pregnant? Pregnant moms or pregnant women see pregnant women. Don't call me sexist. It's true. They do. That's the way it works. Looking for a red Corvette? You'll see every red Corvette for sale in your marketplace. Okay? The reticular activator for the buyer or the seller picks up on the headline that makes sense to their project. So, craft a headline that really grabs the reader and pulls them in, generates the click, and gets them in the ad. Now, when you use an online classified media, your ad has to look like a house for sale. The quickest route to getting someone in your ad is to make your house for sale look like a screaming deal. All right, so here's an example. One of our members sent this to me a few years ago, and it worked really well. I just gave him the lesson that I've just given you guys. Here's the original ad. You can quickly read through it, but look, up here, pay attention to this headline. Attention renters, detached house, less than $1,600. Okay? We know what the message is. We know what the member's trying to say here, but a little bit on the cryptic side. He sent this ad to me. He said, Rick, I've had this ad running, and it's not working that well. Well, I said, first of all, your headline, it's not very good. And here's the proof down at the bottom here. This particular website, Kijiji, tells us how many people have visited the ad. These are unique visitors. In other words, 53 different people came into the ad. Now, this had been running about a week when he sent it to me. So there's the original headline, and by his standard, the ad was not successful. You'll also notice, too, a long laundry list of houses, of features of the house, and then his domain name at the bottom actually kind of hidden. Okay, it's just, it blends in. And remember, the idea here is to get a prospect onto that domain name. So I went to work and I rewrote the ad, hoping that we could do a better job for him. So here's the same ad rewritten by Craig standards. My headline, help, huge discount, must be sold by January 31st. And then we got into the ad, beautiful detached home, please bring offer ASAP. Now, just the headline alone was a huge help, because look at this. I ran this ad to test it in my marketplace, and it ran for less than a day, and in that one day we generated 200 visits. And incidentally, my marketplace is much smaller than our members' marketplace was. Okay? Then After talking a little bit about the house, quiet, no traffic location, gleaming hardwood floors, stainless appliances, romantic fireplace, excuse me, romantic fenced yard, blah, 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 all very emotional, I let the prospect know that this was number 4 of 7 on the January unclaimed quick sale list. All needing offers ASAP, all available for under $1,600 a month. To get your fully loaded full color feature sheet, complete with pictures, addresses, and details for all 7 homes, we sent the prospect to a domain name. Okay, so this worked really well. So I'm not bragging, but I just want to show you the difference when your headline really grabs the reticular activator of your prospect. The original headline, 53 visits in about 8 days. My headline changed, more compelling, 200 visits in about 12 hours. And when you get people in your ad, of course, we can generate traffic and we can ultimately generate leads. Okay, so here's the rule. Your ads should be property specific. They work better. Let your ad appear to be about a house for sale. Now, Craigslist, we can't use a domain name. You can't redirect traffic in any way away from the ad. That's just the way it is, just the new rules. You need a distinct call to action, which these days on Craigslist needs to be your hotline. You need a compelling reason in the ad for the prospect to follow through. And again, the ad, it must appear to be about the house referenced in the headline. So let the first part of your ad be about that house and generate the interest in what you're doing. By the way, guys, the one thing I want you all to remember here, is this type of marketing is free. Okay, this is free. Now, I understand in some markets they've begun to charge real estate agents for their ads on Craigslist, but they're not expensive. They're very inexpensive. But these are the rules I want you to follow when it comes to working with online classifieds. And this isn't new. We've been teaching our members this for a lot of years, and this is the accepted format that really does generate traffic. Here's another example. Now, this particular example, I put this in today to show you what might work, but probably won't work, because all we're offering here, if this is a Craigslist ad, all we're offering here is a list. Okay, that is what we want to do, but I don't think we're going to get away with this on Craigslist very long. I think your ad needs to reflect information about a house for sale and then reference a group of houses in the same category. And to get the list for sale, we want the prospect to call the hotline, kick in the 4-digit code. Now remember what I showed you at the outset. Digital display ads using mobile devices rules the roost right now. So prospects look at ads like this on their smartphone. They simply go over with their thumb, they touch the hotline number, they kick in that 4-digit code, and boom, they are listening to your script. So I think it's very important that we start to run these type of ads back again in our business, and you'll see that you can easily not just test campaigns, but actually generate lots of leads in here as well. Here's another example, and when you get this, you can certainly read through it, and you can see why the message works the way that it does. Now, I want to give you one more quick update here as to why you should run with your hotline into your online ads. Here's what happens. The prospect sees your ad, is compelled to call and get more information with their cell phone. Okay, that's just the way it goes. This is the most common thing now that happens. Once they call and listen in, they hear a compelling script, and they're enticed to leave a message when you hit the button. So, hi, this is Rick Brash with Real Estate Professionals. Thank you very much for calling. If you're looking for information on my guaranteed sale program, press 1. If you're looking for information on our buyback program, press 2. Now, if you're looking for information on the home you saw advertised, please press the 4-digit ID code that corresponds with the ad that you saw, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they hear a message a little bit about the house, how to get information on the house, how to book a showing, and how to get a list of similar priced or homes in the same area. Okay, that's a compelling script. We give them a whole bunch of reasons to leave a message behind. So what happens if they use a smartphone? There's a whole setup that works behind the scenes to actually get this prospect who saw your ad on Craigslist on to a landing page. Now, all of us bemoan the fact that this was taken away from us when Craigslist changed the rules. But if you're working with the hotline and you have this enhanced part set up in your hotline, we're going to get the prospect from Craigslist back on to a landing page. Okay? They call, and here's what happens. As they're making the call, a text message is sent right to their phone. And in the text message, there is a link that they can press, which takes them to a landing page. So now they are on a landing page on their phone. So for those agents who think they can no longer generate web traffic with a Craigslist ad, all you have to do is get your hotline number in the ad. That's the call to action that you want. And there's a set of landing pages that works in conjunction with your hotline number that are both perfect for a cell phone, or if someone's using an iPad or something like that, they also get a version of that they can go to as well. So guess what? You've now got the ability to get traffic from Craigslist on to a landing page that up until now felt as if it had been taken away. So there's a demo here that you can all try, and this is what you get. You all know what you get when you get a message on your hotline. So that's what comes to you. So there's a demo. Try this later today when we're done. 800-878-9556. Now call that from your smartphone, your iPhone, or your Galaxy. Kick in that code 2016, and you'll see how it all works. Okay? And again, that's all part of the system you have access to with automated marketing solutions. And you should be using online classified ads as a pillar of your business. You should be doing that. The cost is minimal. The prospects are there. We've proven this for years. People go to Craigslist day in and day out looking for deals on properties. There's absolutely no reason why we can't run ads on Craigslist, Kijiji, Backpage, anything local that has real estate. How about the sister online site that features classified ads that's owned by your local newspaper? Okay, almost all of us have that in our marketplace. You can now be on there. And for those sites that no longer allow a domain name, now you know how to get those people onto a landing page even without a domain name in your ad. So there you go. So look, great webinar today. I want to thank all of you for coming on board and for sticking with us. Sorry, I went a little bit long here, but before we end this, Andrea, I'm sure there's a bunch more questions that we should deal with. Does anything else come along, Andrea?
We have just a couple of comments and a question. Stephen follows his questions up with, any recommendations on the offer for those customized lists?
I think it would depend on what the initial offer was that generated the list. So if it's for a home evaluation, then I would up the home evaluation offer. If it's for an area sales report, I would up the offer. If it's for the divorce report or something else, I would make an offer that's actually very, very similar to the original one that was made. That's what I would recommend, Stephen. I've never done that myself. I have not segregated a specific group like that on Facebook and continue to send them offers. It's a great idea. We could definitely get on the phone and brainstorm about that. But yeah, I think it has to be something related to what the original offer was that generated the lead that enabled that person to be on your list. So it's a great question. I think we should brainstorm that a little bit. Anything else, Andrea?
No, that pretty much concluded all of our questions.
Okay. Well, look, I went a little long today. I apologize that, but I think it's good stuff. And as I said earlier, if anybody has any questions, send me an email, rick@craigproctor.com. Reach out to your coach, and we'll have this ready to go up to the coaching site, I would assume in the next day or two, Andrea, as long as it takes. And if you watch it again and you're still confused, then don't for a minute hesitate to send me an email. We want to get clarity on this here for you and get it working in your business. But in the meantime and in between times, I hope everybody here is registered for an upcoming super conference. I know some of you we're going to see in Fort Lauderdale in a couple of weeks. All of you I hope we're going to see in Anaheim in April. If you have challenges getting to Anaheim in April, or you don't know why you should be coming or what it's all about, wow, you need to reach out. None of you on this call, if this is your second time to a super conference, none of you on this call today are going to be in the main room with Craig and I and James McDonald. You're going to be in the breakout sessions with Todd Walters and the Platinum Group. That's where all of you are going to be, not in the main room with Craig and I. So that's one reason alone why you should be coming. You're going to get all the advanced stuff that we talk about. And everybody here needs to be fully engaged in the system. We want all of you completely engaged in the program, and that includes coming to all of the events that Craig puts on. The super conferences and getting to all of them is definitely what's going to grow your business. And when you get there, make sure you come and say hello, come shake my hand. I love meeting our members and getting to know you all. But look, we're out of time. Thanks, Andrea, for all your help. I'm sorry if I had too much material today and talked too much, but I think it's good stuff. But listen, we'll see you all at an upcoming super conference, and that will conclude this week's coaching call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon.